Right. In the essence of time, thank you. In the essence of time, we're going to go to item 11, elected member appointments. And Lynn, who has told me it would have been quicker to pick the All Black team than sort this out, has done a fantastic job, along with myself and Pauline. So it's been good.
Lynn's got great patience, I think it's fair to say.
So I'll keep this really brief. This paper proposes a range of council appointments to council organisations, external bodies and trusts. As Mayor Phil has said, these are the Mayor's recommendations in consultation with the Deputy Mayor. There has also been consultation with councillors around the table. There will be revised recommendations on screen, and these are important to make sure that the connections between this council and external bodies are kept, maintained and enhanced. So back to you, Mayor, for the discussion.
Do you have to move? Thank you, Jake. Right, we've got any debate. Right, all of those in favour? Against?
So can we ask some questions?
Oh, yeah?
But
No.
Is there a new list that's been circulated?
So, sorry, Mark, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Oh, Yanni, will it?
Yeah. Is it so? There's a new list.
No.
Right.
Can you use your mics, please?
Yeah.
You just sorted that yourself.
I've nominated Mel for the
Okay, so where are we? Are you, Yanni, did you have a question? Sorry.
Yeah. I was just going to check what the process is around the portfolio has been established.
So there will be a paper next week on portfolios.
Thank you.
So, sorry, what's the process? Like, appreciate there'll be a paper, but what's the process for them being considered?
So it's just in response to your two resolutions where you asked for staff advice on the portfolio terms of reference and the other potential other portfolios. So that staff advice is coming back to you in a report on the 14th.
We just email the office of the CE around suggested portfolios. Is
that was invited some weeks ago when it was
ago.
discussed. And you were reminded about that again about a fortnight ago, and then a week ago, Councillor Johansson. So the report has now been written.
But
Okay.
we get
Yeah, go. You're right.
Just often forgotten about committee, the parking subcommittee makes high-level decisions on yellow lines and traffic movements in the Delegation A area, and it does need to be set up at some point. So just putting that on your
Yes,
radar.
that's a really good point. We've identified that as being one of the outstanding matters we need to resolve as soon as possible. So thank you for that.
You put your hand up, Jake. Thank you very much. Tyrone.
I could order healthy harbour in this.
Should be good.
Where is it?
Healthy Harbour.
Yes, you did, sorry.
There it is, yeah. Right at the bottom on the screen.
Is it in there?
Yeah.
Just
right
above
there,
number
look.
2.
Oh, maybe it's just.
Councillor Fields and
Oh, yeah.
for a Healthy Harbour Governance Group.
Sorry. Thank you.
You're
That's
right.
all
You're
right.
welcome. You're welcome. So we're moving right along. So we'll start again. All those in favour of this? We've got a mover and seconder. All those in favour? Aye. All those against? It's done. Yeah, it's done. Yeah, thank you. Oh, there.
What was Mal's solution?
We can shift it round. There's no problem.
Members, we're
Carry.
causing confusion. Can we please just...
Carry. That's the word we're looking for. Okay, the next one is
No,
the
can I just have my abstention noted
Three
on
Waters
that?
Better Off funding proposal application. David.
No,
Not-
Mary
Mary.
and David, yeah.
Mary. Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Mary, just remind members how many briefings we've done and conversations with them, would you?
Who who moved it?
Moved. Great.
Jake
Okay.
and Sarah. Jake and Sarah. Okay. Do you want to talk about a lot of this? No.
Not at
Okay,
all.
so I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All right, debate. I'm just preempting. Okay, thank
This opportunity to clarify a misnomer that's come through the media that
Yes.
the City Council has shoulder tapped the government for some money for our safety in the city, and we haven't, because this money has been offered to us as better off funding, and we have identified some of that to be used for our central city safety projects. So I'd also on that note like to thank the government for this kind offer. Thank you.
Very good. Celeste?
I'd just like to thank staff for the work on this, and also note that Central City Safety Fund is also intended to be allocated to the suburban areas.
Thank you. Anyone else? All good. So, Aaron?
I'd just like to say that I think all of the projects listed in here are worthy projects and good projects. Some of them are great. But what I'm not comfortable with is accepting this money from the government, because I disagree with essentially what they're doing, and by us accepting this money, we're agreeing to their takeover of Three Waters. I see this like a bribe money, call it blood money if you want, and I'm not comfortable taking it. It's just like if your cousin turns up and gives you $100,000, you're all excited and start paying down your bills, then you find out, oh God, he's a meth dealer. It's $100,000, not cool. Yep. So just saying that I do see this as blood money. The government is borrowing this money to bribe us into something we don't want. Does that not ring a little odd to everyone in this room? The government is borrowing money when they're broke to bribe us into something we don't want. And did we get elected to do that? I certainly have had so much feedback from people that they're unhappy with the Three Waters process that as the councillor for my area, I cannot support taking this money. So I'll vote against.
But they're still letting us oppose. You can still have your opposing view, and they're still giving us the money.
Shall we go back to my cousin, that when he turns up with $100,000,
we
you can't
don't
invite
have
him
that.
to your wedding?
No.
Mark?
Oh, Aaron, great.
That's the best, that is.
I can see the headline tomorrow. Thank you. I'd like to thank staff for their work on this, and I do pick up on the reticence of it being bribe money from the government, and I do hope that we still have the opportunity to stand strong against Three Waters, and that this is not in any way compromising us. I'm really pleased to see the heat recovery system for the Matatiki Hornby Centre in there. I think that's a fantastic use of funds to help with that. Also, the city safety, I mean, we all know that that's a huge problem in our city at the moment, and the more we can do, not just in the central city, but also in the suburbs. We've got some serious issues in the suburbs around the city. And then also with the trees and biodiversity, I think having that in there is a great way to try and bring to be a number of strong planting areas around the city, including, I'll drop it in here, Hornby Bush. That would be, it's a great use of this fund, so I'll certainly support this.
Go on.
I just want to highlight the money that's in here for greening our city. We've got the urban forest plan coming out early next year for consultation, and this money will really be able to kickstart that work. I think it's really important that we get on to do that now. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, as you can see in Chester Street, or 30 years ago. The second best time is now, and I think that's a really important piece of work. I know that we are all, there is some disquiet over the Three Waters, and what I would remind people is to hold on to that, and every time we face a vote on whether or not we fund upgrades to our stormwater system and those kind of things in our current annual plan, that you hold on to that and be good governors of our stormwater system. Thank you.
I'll just say one. No one else. All good. I'll yes. All right. Yeah. No. Don't take as long as you like. Got a day.
Sorry, Phil. No, I'd oh, as long as I like. Well,
No,
it all
2
started.
minutes 54.
So no, I really want to thank staff who again who put a huge amount of work into this, and some of the things in this funding, regardless of where the money's come from, is going to make a massive difference to Banks Peninsula. It's going to make a massive difference to our zero carbon targets and biodiversity targets for our city. So I mean, it's just a wonderful thing to have that stuff accelerated, and the outcomes are going to be great. So, and there's a lot of other good stuff in there as well, but particularly for Banks Peninsula, it's great. So kia ora.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight over the past, how long have I been here now?
Months.
2 months. I kept rambling on about equity. We talk about that quite a lot, social equity. And in this, I see some very, very good outcomes across the board. So I just want to thank staff for that and proposing all of these things. And they all make sense. They all make sense. And to me, it's absolutely amazing seeing the diverse ways in approaching multiple issues across the board, which includes safety, which includes barriers to participation in swimming. And it's something that's really close to my heart as a water baby, particularly out in Rapaki. That's very, very important, seeing as other places might not be able to step up and provide swimming opportunities for those that are in a more deprived community. So thank you very much, Mary and the team and everyone. Thank you very much for that, and I'm in full support of this. Thank you.
Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I too appreciate the work that's been done. I think this is a great opportunity. We don't always agree, with the three water situation, but you've got to make the most of it when situations like this, come your way. And using this funding, I think, is going to be really positive for the community. So, yeah, I'm happy with it. Can I just say that I loved Aaron's. I think we should definitely, make.
No.
It's a long 3 years.
Yeah, you've got to enjoy it. Yeah.
So lastly, one of the things that is oh, sorry, Yana, you go. I didn't see your pen.
Yeah, I appreciate the work that staff have done on this. I do share some of the concerns that Councillor Keown has raised, but the other concern that I have is around the Beckenham Library Service Centre Community Hub, which I thought we had a separate process underway to consider it in the annual plan. So I'm surprised that it's been added in here. There's a number of other community facilities that we had on budget, Phillipstown, Shirley. I know there's concern around getting a new Martians Hall. So I just, I struggle with the Beckenham Library Service Centre Community Hub. I hope that, I don't want to vote against the entire thing, but I hope that individual things like that specific project will still go through its normal process, because that's only a contribution to it. It's not the full cost. Mm-hmm. And I'll, reserve the right to express a view when that comes back to us. I would be concerned if staff lock us into an irreversible position on that facility, given that we haven't had that opportunity to have that bigger conversation. But I acknowledge the work that staff have done. It is a little bit disappointing that some of the initial proposals around things in the east getting attention have been dropped off. But I think, there is a wide variety of things that address our environmental challenges, our social challenges, and, will be good for our community. So I will support this with the proviso that I've raised about the South Library, which, I think we still need to consider the impact on that.
And here comes Tim, who will probably talk about the South Library.
Thank you. I wanted to thank staff for the work they've done. Just as the South Library is absolutely essential to the communities in all of the south of Christchurch. You mentioned Shirley, that's got 2 community centres in that ward area. So I don't know why Councillor keeps picking one thing. If there is a shake and it drops under 31%, it closes for all of those communities. We have put it, the community board has put this off twice with regards to both the Linwood Pool and the Hornby Pool, that was absolutely the right thing to do. But it is now time that it is done, and it is needed. So I'm so pleased it's here, and I look forward to moving forward on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. And lastly, from me, it's must be hard for the public to, over the last wee while, hear about how much, how short of money we are, or how much money we've got borrowed and stuff like this, and then you rock up here, and here we are throwing money around, but it's not ours. It's not ours. And that was the reason it was given as better off funding. A lot of things have been we've funded that would not otherwise get the money, and I like the fact that we're putting so much money into putting trees up on the Port Hills and other areas where it's ecology action or eco action. They do one hell of a lot of work, and if we can help them do stuff like that, it's good for everybody. So I'll certainly be supporting it. So here we go. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Great.
Aaron's against.
Oh, Aaron, sorry.
Item 13, Mayor.
Yes.
Item 13,
Yes.
please.
Now we're talking about. Thank you, Andrew. Puna car park extension and landscape mitigation works. Good to see you here again.
Come on, let's keep going. You're doing well.
I'm going to assume that the report is read, but just I guess with the Netzel guys not being able to make this morning, just to remind existing councillors that have been through the Netzel journey, but perhaps newer councillors that haven't, that the development of the Netzel facility initiated post-earthquakes, so quite some time ago. And an Auckland-based benefactor who wishes to remain anonymous wanted to contribute a large sum of money for the benefit, particularly of female community-based participation in sport. And that's really what has driven this this project. And as was pointed out this morning, Ngā has been a victim of its own success. It has had quite a negative impact on the local community in terms of traffic movement, and there was a significant amount of concern raised at the hearing about that impact. And so, whilst it may seem relatively straightforward, it is actually quite an important decision for the city, because it is becoming a very unique and well utilised facility. So I just wanted to remind people that this is a genuine partnership. You know, we talk about partnerships a lot. This isn't council just doing things. This is council partnering with the community. And open to any questions.
Thanks so much for this. I remember when this, when we first approved the lease for Netzel and that going forward, we knew that there would be traffic impacts, and this has been beyond what we expected. But we were also really clear as a council in asking for more work to be done on alternate transport methods, so public transport, cycling, those kind of things. But how it looks is that we've done lots of work on working out where to put cars, and a little bit of side work that's not going to be progressed in a time to make a difference for other modes of transport. So it would be cheaper and quicker to put the other stuff in. So a cycle path and signage and things to encourage people to catch the bus, immediately to try and keep the numbers of traffic down. But that work hasn't been done, and yet all the work's been done to work out how do we do a car park. And I'm just wondering if there's ways to speed up the cycle path down to Curlitz Road, which had clearly been a misinterpretation earlier, and the encouraging of the bus transport.
I guess you're right. The traffic assessment was really the driver for this, and how people travel. And I think Andrew mentioned this morning that they are actively encouraging participants to utilise public transport. So yeah, we have reacted to the most obvious element that the traffic assessment pointed out, and I guess the biggest impact on the local community. The work is ongoing and it is current. We're working alongside our transport colleagues. We can certainly have conversations with them around how we can speed that work up, particularly for the cycleways. And there has been encouraging signs from ECAN on promoting or even modifying public transport routes to include a bus route through the Ngāpunawai, to the Ngāpunawai hub, and right down to them making it their number one priority for bus route re-evaluation. So there's some good progress, but I guess I still believe that we're doing the right thing. We're not going to mitigate all of the parking demands with what we're
It's
proposing
never
to
all or
construct.
nothing with transport,
Or
and
all the
people say
transport
that,
demands,
you know, but it's never.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say though is this is not going to stop. We are going to continue with the active transport solutions, but we shouldn't not complete this part of the
Yeah, I
work.
wasn't saying that
Yeah.
though. You know, it just seems that when we're a council that has really clearly stated priorities when it comes to transport, and we know that we should be building for the transport we want, not what we currently have, it would make sense to put additional priority on those non-car methods and not wait for ECAN to put a new route in, but actually it's only sort of 600-700 metres away, the current bus stop. And, you know, if you're going to Ngāpunawai, they tend to be relatively fit, healthy people who don't mind walking 600-700 metres from a bus stop. So encouraging that kind of thing, putting in better bus infrastructure, which is our job, at that site would be really good.
Sure. No,
Thanks.
there's a commitment to continue to work, you know, with ECAN and obviously our transport colleagues to get there as quickly as we can. Something we do have to be mindful of though is there's a lot of activity, and the timing of that activity doesn't necessarily coincide with the current public transport systems,
I
right
agree.
through to 10 o'clock at night.
Yep.
And there are, you know, obvious safety concerns for some people with younger
Go
children.
until 10 o'clock at night.
But there's an absolute commitment to continuing that work.
Yeah, thanks.
Aaron?
Yeah, so on that point around the buses, that given that there's a really good bus service going down Lincoln Road, 700 odd metres away, which is, as we know, is outside of the preferred walking distance of people on buses, can we do any work to look at a shuttle service that works at Ngāpunawai as needed? So whether it becomes a part-time staff member for us and it's a 20-seater or a 14-seater shuttle, so we work out the numbers, work out if it's needed, then put it on when it's needed, and at least know the costs of that. So just getting people out to and from the...
That would be quite a complex piece of work, and nothing's impossible, but we'd have to work with all of the sporting codes on all of their programming of all of their activity, which is quite diverse. And where are we shuttling them to?
Well, straight out to the bus line, but it's a follow-on from Sarah's point that we create facilities which then go against our goals around transport.
We're just veering off the car park decision, and I know we're running out of time. Andre, thank you, Aaron.
Right, okay. Just trying to help solve the problem.
Yeah, it's related to the car park, and that cars will one day, hopefully very soon, be able to come in from Wigram Road to get to the car park. So I just feel it's my duty to ask about progress re the Wigram Road entrance.
Sure.
And the language we got this morning around McMahon having to be open the other day is concerning.
Sure.
It will happen. Yanni?
Yeah, thanks.
Sorry, did you want to respond?
Sorry, Phil, there's an answer coming then.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I presumed it was a question. So there is work ongoing for the second entrance as per the resolution from council. And there is a sunset clause on the existing resource consent. It must be achieved by 2028. That sounds a long time away. But alongside looking at the cycleway connection, that is the current package of work that we're looking into. And we will be able to open, work with the codes to open that entrance operationally in a temporary sense. It is a gravel road, so we just got to be mindful of the impacts of that to meet the peak demands, to take some of the pressure off Augustine once the netball centre's up and running.
Yeah, just the promise that was made to residents was that there would be an entrance open by the time the netball centre opens. So I'm just mindful of how we communicate that between now and then.
Sure. I do recall I was in that meeting, and yeah, I think I did say it may have to be temporary and operational initially in the last meeting. Yeah, but there's absolute commitment.
Thank you.
Yanni.
Yeah, I was just concerned in the additional or the alternative options that there's no lower cost options that are provided. It seems really expensive for a car park. Seems like it's a really nice, standard of car parking. But was there any other alternatives considered given our financial constraints at the moment, and given that this is something that possibly could be staged or could be worked towards in the future, given that this has existed for a wee while now, this issue, and we do have other experience with big events that do generate additional parking.
There is a lot of stormwater, a hell of a lot of stormwater work going on, isn't there, Andrew?
It is very much an integrated system. If we're going to dive into numbers, we'll have to go into confidential. Because we're still at the final stage of negotiations.
No, but
at a higher level, yes, we've done a lot of value management. We've done everything we can to reduce the cost to a minimum. The only option you have is to not build as many car parks, which is not in line with the recommendation from the independent review. And as you heard this morning, that means that you'll be effectively parking cars on a paddock, and the peak demand for Ngāpunawa is actually in winter. And the net result will be not addressing the traffic issues for the local community.
Okay. Right.
So we're trying to, we've worked really hard to get to what we believe is the responsible level of investment.
Did you consider a multi-storey car parking building to minimise the footprint and use
unaffordable? Simply unaffordable. It hasn't been explored, but there's significantly higher cost.
Okay, moving right along. Tyler, you'll be the last one because we've got to get on to the next thing.
Great. Just wondering if you can remind us of the abundance of landscaping that you're going to be doing in this plan, just for the public and ourselves.
Yeah, sure.
To be reminded.
And the Mayor touched on it before, as did Andrew this morning. It's a very significant and sensitive site, and in particular for mana whenua. And MKT at the time, the initial consent that went forward, they raised quite a few concerns about the impact on the river. So there's been a redesign and a significant emphasis to mitigate any impact on the Apauaho River. And that's meant that we've got a lot more integrated stormwater management within the car park space. But also, one of the key concerns that came out of the hearings was, I guess, the impact of a very large, simple building, on the environment, and in particular the neighbouring environment. And so there's been a significant amount of effort put into landscape mitigation to try to, ensure that whatever is constructed there adds amenity value. Certainly, our canopy cover is always going to be part of our thinking. So that it is very park-like in its setting, even though we're essentially building kind of quasi-semi-industrial scale assets. So it's probably the most significant amount of landscaping I've seen in that kind of environment for quite some time. Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew.
Sorry, Phil.
Sorry.
And thinking that, could this model go across other projects, and would it be a good reasoning to go over other projects?
From a parks perspective, it's hard to imagine another facility of that scale at the moment, but the principles absolutely. And the most obvious one would be any development. One of the proposals being looked at in the Atakaro Avon River corridor is for the flat water sports hub to swap sides with the river and open up the side that the City to Sea pathway goes through to the public. So it'll be smaller scale, but same principles. So that'll be the next one where we look at a similar approach.
Excellent. So we have a mover and seconder. So I'll put that motion. All in favour?
Aye.
Against?
It's covered.
Carried. Eh?
Sarah?
Oh, sorry. Okay.